Welcome to the second part of the PrinectMediaManager demonstration. Here we will now have a look in the tool Layouter and how to fill a project with articles. These articles comes from the PrinectMediaManager from the database. Before we start, we have a look in another nice little module where I now log in myself, and this is called the Cockpit. Here from the Cockpit I can either start all my tools for the Media Manager, or I can also have a searching tool for have a look in the database. For example, if I search for some article documents, or I can also browse for images. I can see the folder structure in the database, and I can see previews of these images, see all the information of that images, and I can download them from here. Well, like I already told you, I can also launch my different modules. Let's start now with the layouter. I have already opened here the link. Just let me quickly change the language to English, and I now log in with my user account and my password. And we are now logged in the layouter. Here I can either start with a new project, open existing projects, and on the left hand side we can see our structure. We have the articles from the database, we can see document, graphic elements, project templates, and so on. Before we now start with our use case Gustav, I would just like to show you an existing Gustav project, so the finished Gustav catalog. So we can see it here, and I can just load an existing project. We will see in a few seconds all the pages here of the catalog. On the bottom we can directly have a preview in a tool which is called Catalog Viewer. I can output it also to a PDF. In the meanwhile, this is coming up. I will just show you quickly a double page or a single page, for example. So with a double click I can just put here my page in the workspace, and you can see directly the information behind the fields. You have different tools to work on images, work on the text, and you can easily fill a catalog. In the meantime, Catalog Viewer is coming up, and we can see here our project. We can have a look on the single pages, and we have different tools, so we can give commands to it. We can have thumbnails, we can have an overview about the full catalog. This is all no problem at all. By the time this little gray icon is just a placeholder, that means this asset for the article is created to have two images in it, but if there is just one, no problem at all. Just one will be placed. Later in the PDF file you won't see that anymore. So far to an existing project. I will now close it, and we will create our own use case. In this use case we do a monthly special of Gustav, where we fill all the articles in which are pretty much to be expired. So that means we do a monthly special, fill all the articles in, special articles, and you get 10% discount because maybe the chocolate will expire next month or in 2 months. Therefore we will now start here a new project from an existing template, and I have here a template for my monthly specials. I will just launch now this template. You will give this project a proper name. This is my special for the month August, and I just save it in projects. So you can set up some base properties, due date, quantity, and so on, or you can also start without that. And in a few seconds we will now see the structure of this template. So first I have cover pages, and as you can see, these are existing InDesign documents I've just uploaded, and I don't need to fill them with articles. So actually that's just pages which are already done, and I use it in every monthly special. The only thing I need to change here is a month, and this I can easily do with this tool. So this is for August, and I can just overtake that, and that's all I need to do on that page. It's the same with this order sheet, although this order sheet is already done and directly uploaded as a finished InDesign document into the layouter, and I've saved it in the templates. That's all. The first thing we really need to do is we start here with this first page. Once again, just to remember, to get later pages filled in layouter, we need to have our page construction with a master page, a grid, and some assets. The room, the rack, and the articles on it. And this can be different kind of assets, single, bundle, multi-assets, and so on. So back in the layouter, you will directly see that I've already prepared something for you. So we have already a master page in the background. We have already our grid in here. This is a rack, the coordinates of a page, and I've already filled in here an asset on the top and on the bottom. Why have I done that? That we can directly start with a chapter. For example, we are now doing a special for chocolate. Once again, the story is it will be expired soon, and I give special discount on that articles. Here I can have a look in the article database, which comes from PrinectMediaManager, and I have here my different folders. And the first thing I will do now is in monthly special, I will place a main article which gives me the chapter structure in here. For example, we can also use antipasti, and I can just drag and drop here the antipasti on the single assets, and very easily we can now see that this is a placeholder or the beginning for a chapter. And also if an image is, for example, too small, I can easily adjust that with simple tools and resize that, and can also change the height. That's pretty easily done. And then I have just the structure of the page created, and the next is, of course, we like to place our single articles or single products. Therefore, we just have a look in here on this grid page again, and on the next step we just place our assets, which comes from the part documents. Here I can also find my InDesign documents for the master pages, my grids, and in addition my assets. We have now here a single asset, and very easily with multi-selection I can also place more than one on the same time. This is now my placeholder, and in the next step I will just take my single articles from antipasti, and I can drag and drop them. From here I can either have it with previews or just with text on it. Let's place, for example, my onions, my pickled mushrooms, my cherry peppers, and maybe my tomatoes. After they are placed, you can see directly you have here the images with a preview, and of course you also have all the information behind it about product code, price. We can see here directly we have a special discount with 10% off, and we can also see that we have a second placeholder for a second image, but which is not placed. Here we just have single images on. So as you can see here now, everything is in English, so description, all the information behind these articles placed from the database in here are in English, but of course I can also have in the database already done a translation to German, French layers and so on. If I have done that, I can just quickly hit here the translation button. Before I can do that, I need to save it, and then I can, for example, translate directly to a German layer. But therefore the language has to be in the article and in the database, and as soon as saving is done, I can directly hit this button translate, and we will get a translation. So I just do that now. It takes him a few seconds, and after this is done, I can just jump here on layers from the English layer to the German layer, and you see you have directly the German translation in here. This is a method feature, and now it's time to show you some more features. Of course, I can also place single graphic elements, images, which are not belonging to an article, or I just want to have here an additional image. I can just place it, resize it quickly, and then this is done. So that's not a big issue at all. Also, in addition, I can always jump into this information which comes from the database, and I can change manually, for example, the price here to 5 euros, though this is also quickly done. And the next logical question will then be, if I want to change this data or to save this data also in the database, that the structure of the article, the properties of the article is changed forever, or I just would like to have it temporary here in my project. In this case, I just like to have it temporary, and of course I can always with a double click open an article, see the details about this article, see my English and German layer, for example. I can see the images which belongs to that image, to that article. Can be more than once, and then I have here some image numbers that the system knows where to place which image, and I can also see the usage of the article, so in how many projects this article is in use. I can also request images if I'm in an agency and I have access to this layouter and I need to have another image, I can request that. I think it's also a good point to talk about logins and user rights. So this is all adjustable also here in the layouter and in PrinectMediaManager. It always depends on the rights. Can I log in, what I can see, what I can do, what I can change. So it's also possible that somebody from outside has an access to the layouter, but maybe he can just fill projects with articles, do some text changes, but he can never change some articles in the database or whatever. And I can also have here a rollback function to get back to several versions. This is just a fallback function. This you can also see in the Media Manager. So now it's time to come to the next step, and we will fill now another page with articles. We have now seen how to place single articles in a single asset, but it's also possible to have assets called bundle asset. Let's imagine whenever we would like to place chocolate articles, we don't want to place them as single articles, we want to have it as a bundle. Once again, on this page is already assigned a master page and a grid, and also two assets, which is just indicating our chapter. In that case, it's a chocolate, so just let me resize that a bit more. In the first step, I will just add my chapter article. So this is just to indicate what is it about. So we have here now chocolate. I just put it on the top and on the bottom of a page, and then we like to have our bundle asset, so we will find it here in documents again, and this is for an 8-up, so I just put it in here. And the next step is just easily jumping back to articles. In chocolate, before we had single assets, so just one after each other, and here we now place a bundle. We have indicated with a 1 in front of the name, and there is no image preview because the images comes from the single 1-ups. Here I will just place it like a kind of placeholder, and automatically we can see all the chocolate articles are filled in. This structure comes directly from the PrinectMediaManager, where we have created this bundle. So also our chocolate is now done, and before we leave the layouter, maybe I show you one more functionality how to place articles. So on the last page we will just do a quick mix. So this is now called in monthly specials. Sorry, that was the wrong one, but prilins are also fine. We will have here something which is called mixed card, and on this mixed card maybe I just put different things on. There's no theme behind it, it's not champagne, wine or chocolate, so it's just a placeholder for everything. Just let me resize that a bit again, and we jump in here, place quickly some assets, so maybe 2 single assets and also 2 bundle assets, and in the next step I just collect my articles for it. So maybe we do 1 champagne I will take, and also maybe some honey in it, and in addition maybe some tea as a bundle, so just this one and this one. And if I now have a look in selected articles, I can see that these 4 articles are chosen, 2 without a preview because that's a bundle, and 2 just a single ones, and I just choose them in here, and in the same order I can choose them here. You can see the numbers, and then in the next step I will just place them, and that's it. Very easily I have placed here my articles. If I'm not quite happy with the images, I can just take them, resize them. So that's, like I told you, easy working on the graphic elements, no problem at all. But the real fine adjustment then will be done in the project in InDesign, and therefore we will need to have the InDesign plugin. That's the next thing we are looking on. But before, I want to just make this a bit nicer, so maybe we take that image, resize it. Well, that's it. So pretty fast and pretty easy. We have now done part of a project. The next step is then open it in InDesign, do a little fine adjustment, and that's it. But also here I can already create a PDF. That's not a big thing, although out of PrinectMediaManager I can do that later. Here I will not now just do it with a small file size, that we don't need to wait too long, but normally we'll use here the setting high quality print, of course. Now it's time to start with the third chapter, the InDesign plugin. The last thing is we now have a look on our PDF. So here it comes. We just now open it, and we can see here we have now our Orchust catalog, and we have our antipaste, we have our chocolate, and so on. So the result of this finished product we can also get automatically from the function Dropbox in PrinectMediaManager. So here we have done it manually in the layouter, but there's also a way to automate that. Of course, you need to meet some preconditions. Yeah, you need to have a good structure, good base, and then you can do this also automatically with this Dropbox functionality. By the way, the name Dropbox has nothing to do with the official Dropbox. This is just an internal name, Dropbox functionality. So, thank you for your attention. We will see us soon in the third chapter when we talk a bit about the InDesign plugin.